I never thought one dinner could change everything. One moment I was engaged, planning my future with the man I loved, and the next, I was staring at the wreckage of something I thought would last forever. My name is Maya, and this is the story of how a single evening exposed the truth about love, pride, and how easily we can destroy the very thing we claim to cherish. When I first met Ethan, I was convinced I'd found my forever. He wasn't flashy or loud like the men my friends usually admired, but there was something grounded about him. Steady, thoughtful, reliable. He worked in logistics, and everything about him reflected that. He believed in structure, order, and reason. I, on the other hand, lived in color and chaos. I planned events for a living, and I loved making everything look beautiful, even if sometimes, beneath the surface, it was falling apart. For 4 years, we built a life together. 2 months ago, we got engaged. The ring was everything I ever wanted, a 2.2-carat oval-cut lab-grown diamond. It sparkled like a promise. I chose it, he paid for it, and when I wore it, I felt like the center of the universe. Then came the dinner. My friends Tessa, Brianna, and Lila wanted to celebrate our engagement. They said it was their treat, a girls' night plus Ethan, to officially welcome him into the circle. We booked a table at the Glass House, one of those new fancy places where the food is more art than meal and the drinks have names you can't pronounce. I should have known something was off from the start. They arrived first, already 3 cocktails deep, laughing too loud, eyes glittering like they were up to something. Ethan joined me, quiet as always, just happy to be there. At first, everything seemed fine. My friends ordered appetizers, oysters, and bottles of wine like we were royalty. I played along, laughing, posing for pictures, showing off my ring under the light. For a while, I forgot the world outside that table. But when the check came, everything changed. The waiter placed the leather folder in the middle of the table. No one moved. The laughter stopped. Then, with a sly grin, Tessa slid the folder across the table, right in front of Ethan. "So, Ethan," she said sweetly, "we've been talking. And, well, we just want to make sure our girl is in good hands. You know, that you can provide for her." I remember giggling nervously, trying to lighten the mood. "Oh, come on, Tessa. It's just a joke." But it wasn't a joke. Ethan's face went cold. He didn't laugh. He just looked at me, waiting for me to say something, to stop it, to defend him. And I didn't. I froze. My heart pounded. I didn't think it was that serious. Then Brianna leaned in. "Show us you can handle her," she said. "Pick up the bill. Prove your worth." And Lila giggled. "Yeah, come on, Ethan. Be the man." It was supposed to be our treat. That's what they said. But the truth was, they wanted to test him, to see if he'd bend. He didn't speak for a moment. Then he said, "Okay." For a split second, I smiled, thinking he'd do it. But then he stood up, walked away from the table, and disappeared toward the bar. We all laughed at first, thinking he was just paying there. Then 10 minutes passed. 20. He didn't come back. When I asked the waiter, he said, he already paid for his drink. Just his drink. The bill sat there, $800. The girls' cards declined one by one. Panic spread like wildfire. Tessa was furious. Brianna was calling her bank. Lila was whispering that she didn't get paid until next week. And me. I just sat there, staring at the empty chair where Ethan used to be. I called him. No answer. Then I left him a voicemail, crying, confused, angry. Ethan, please, where are you? This isn't funny. They're threatening to call the police. He never came back. That night, Tessa's father ended up paying the bill. He wasn't happy about it. I went home humiliated, heartbroken, and furious. The next morning, I went to our apartment. His car was gone. His clothes were gone. And on the table, the credit card I used, the one he gave me, was deactivated. When I texted him, he said it was over. Just like that. He told me the dinner was a deal breaker, that my silence, my laughter, my friend's behavior showed him everything he needed to know. I tried to fix it. I told him I was drunk, that it was all a misunderstanding. But he didn't care. Then I said something I'll regret for the rest of my life. I told him I was keeping the ring. I said I deserved it for everything I'd been through. He didn't reply, but a few hours later, my father, Mr. Carter, got a call from the police. Ethan had filed a theft report. My heart sank when I realized what that meant. He wasn't bluffing. He'd called his insurance company. They were launching an investigation. I panicked. I told my friends. And in my desperation, I did something even worse. I pawned the ring. I told myself it was just temporary. I needed money to pay back Tessa's father for the dinner. But it wasn't temporary. It was the final nail in the coffin. A few days later, my father showed up at my apartment, furious. He'd been contacted by the police and had to go to the pawn shop himself. He paid $3,500 to get the ring back. When he returned it to Ethan, I followed him, crying, begging, saying it was all a mistake. But Ethan just looked at me, calm, distant, like a man who'd already buried what we had. You drove yourself here, Maya, he said. The moment you sided with them, it was over. And he walked away. I watched him leave, and in that moment, I realized I'd lost everything. Not just a fiancé, not just a future, but a good man who had loved me until the very end. After that, the dominoes fell fast. I lost my job, a no-show on Monday after the chaos. My friends stopped calling. Tessa's father cut her off financially. Brianna and Lila distanced themselves. The little social circle I'd built collapsed like glass under pressure. Now, months later, I'm still rebuilding my life. I live with my parents again. I'm paying back my father for the pawn money. And sometimes, I catch myself staring at old photos of me and Ethan, wondering what would have happened if I had just said, "Stop. This isn't right." Because sometimes, love doesn't end because someone cheats or lies. Sometimes it ends because pride walks into the room and refuses to leave. If you've ever been in a relationship where ego, pride, or other people's opinions came between you and someone you loved, what did you learn from it? Tell me in the comments. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. And if you found this story powerful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss more real stories like this one.